I would like to dedicate this beginning part of the video to the many creators who have inspired me to start challenge running. Main ones being Nurbit, Lemon of the Backlogs, JK Leeds, Doomwolf, and many others I could list for ages. And a very special thank you to Lemon, who was kind enough to respond to my questions asking for advice on the subject of challenge running. And I would also like to thank my friends for supporting me in my streaming endeavors and their interest in the challenge run while recording, writing, and editing. Thank you all for being awesome. But with all that out of the way, what the hell is this run about? Well, there have been similar runs done in the past by other people. The only one I personally seen was by DevBox, who did a run with only NPC drops. But as for my run, it's more so inspired by Nurbit's run of Fallout New Vegas as an identity thief. The main rules are as follows. I am allowing myself to dupe souls, only souls. I am only allowed to level up 5 levels per boss, 10 per DLC boss. This is so that the dupe souls don't make it too easy for me. I have to kill every boss with a different identity. I did end up missing some bosses, but we'll get to that at the end of the video. If I could not wield an NPC's weapon, I allowed myself to level up to the point of being able to one-hand said weapon. Any further levels in that stat or any others would eat into my level allowance. While this is labeled as a challenge run, I mainly intend to have fun here, replaying one of my favorite games, so a slight bending of the rules here and there should be expected. I'll try to keep this exciting by using NPCs that you may not know even exist or have forgotten that they exist, and yeah, with all that out of the way, let us get into Chapter 1. Our story begins where every story does. Character creation. I chose to make myself look as bland as possible and name myself Decoy Octopus, mainly as a Metal Gear reference and as a reference to Nurbit's run. You should go watch that. I chose the Thief class since we are going to be doing a lot of stealing, and also because of the free Master Key. And I chose the Black Fire Bombs as my starting gift because reasons. Anyway, Darcel tries to give me some exposition through a PowerPoint presentation or something, but like most of my uni classes, I sleep through it and wake up in an asylum with no idea as to what is happening. So, to satiate my thirst for answers, I grab this convenient key in front of me and head out into the hallway, which looks remarkably similar to my dorm's hallway. Strange similarities aside, I make my way to the first boss of the run, who I promptly ignore as I want to keep my Chekhov's fire bombs with me. I talk to Oscar, tell him that I do not give a shit about his prophecy or whatever he was trying to sell me. Probably some multi-level marketing scheme or something, I don't know. And on an unrelated note, I get my Estus and find this fancy key here. I don't know where Oscar had gone. I then kill the asylum demon. I get kidnapped by the smallest bird from the Jurassic period and arrive in Lordran, where I spot my first target. Make myself human for aesthetic reasons, and proceed towards Undead Berg, but not before skill issuing all over the viaduct, trying to grab a soul that I don't even think I ever used. The journey through Undead Berg wasn't that exciting. I got to the merchant, duped some souls, bought the heater shield and the chainmail armor, minus the helmet, and then I realized I'll have to get to Andre to get the sword I'll be using for the next boss. So I went through the usual route, New Londo Ruins, Valley of the Drake, Darkwood Basin, and arrived at Andre. Bought the sword, opened the shortcut lift back to Firelink, grabbed the key for the return trip to the Undead Asylum, and then I proceeded to kill the Crestfallen warrior, but not before he almost kills me IRL by almost two-shotting me. Luckily, I died a few seconds later, but then I managed to actually kill him fairly easily. Once I have acquired my new identity, I proceed through Undeadburg, where I definitely did not die. Do not look at the footage in the background. Do not stop. What are you doing? After that, I had a pretty normal Taurus demon fight. Nothing special about it. Then I headed through the usual route in the Undead Parish, went over the bridge, under the brake, lit the fire, opened the gate, skill issued all over the place, headed back to Firelink, then headed to Darkwood Basin to grab the Elite Knight set for the next identity. Then I headed to the Valley of Drakes to pick up the Estor Stray Sword, the best weapon in the game. I mean, why else would it be called the Ass? After that, I head back to the Undead Asylum, not to fight the Spray Demon, because that's against the rules, but to kill Hollow Oscar, who is luckily kind of a pushover, especially since I'm a god at parrying. Ignore all the failed parry attempts, please. I then equip my new armor and weapons, familiarize myself with its moveset, and cry because I am now forced to fat roll. I head back to the Undead Parish, kill the Boulder Knight on the stairs, somehow managed to run past all the buff hollows and up the ladder. I debated summoning Solaire, but decided against it as I do not believe Oscar would have summoned him. I then promptly die because the gargoyles refuse to stop spamming fire at me, and I wake up in the Undead Asylum because I forgot to rest it at Firelink. But while I'm here, I decide to go pick up the rest of the Iron Ring for later use. I then die to the Torch Hollows while making my way back to Firelink. Maybe I should have put some points into Vitality, but that would have been less suffering for me and less entertainment for you, so yeah. Anyway, this time I make sure to rest at Firelink, kill the Boulder Knight, and die to the Hollows. Okay, it's fine, let's do this again. Go up the elevator, kill the Knight, die to the Channeler. Okay, it's fine. Let's do this again. Go up the elevator, kill the Knight, run away in fear, kill the Hollows, kill the Channeler. I said kill the Channeler. I said kill the Channeler. There we go. Time for the Gargoyles. It's a pretty standard low-level Gargoyles fight, so nothing interesting. I hit them, block attack. If it's fire, strafe to the left or right, and hit again. Repeat until dead. And after all that, we managed to fulfill part of the prophecy as Oscar. May his legend live on as the one who rang the bell. After that, I go down to Lower Undeadburg and free Griggs. And apparently a Gravelord servant died? Neat, I guess. I then commit minor deicide by killing everyone's favorite Sombro and assume his identity. After that, I made my way down to Lower Undeadburg to face Capra, which went pretty well. Didn't die at all. That is, before Capra. To Capra, I died like... let's count. 1... 2... Huh. Only twice. Thought it was more, but... yeah. Oh hey, a weapon I can't use. I then head to the depths, get the large ember, get the sack, free Laurentius, and head back to Firelink, where I managed to die in a way that no person has ever died before. That's not even a skill issue anymore. To die in a manner such as this requires an enormous amount of skill. I head back to Firelink to get the Pyromancy Flame and head down to Blighttown through the Valley of Drakes. Then I ate Maneater Mildred to become her. Wait, that sounds weird. Hold on. Wait, no, hold on. I then grabbed the plank shield and the pyromancy set for later, then headed to fight Quelaag. Our damage is actually really good. Excuse me, this is a weapon that scales mainly with strength. It needs around 30 strength to even use. Yes, I only got it to +1, but like, only 62 damage? Oh, this is gonna take a while. Safe to say, I died a few times. Then decided to head back to Andre so I could buy some Titanite shards to get my weapon to +5. Surprisingly, I had enough to get it to +7, but being a dumbass, I only got it to +6. Also, I want to mention, Quelaag did some moves that I have never seen before. Like, I've never seen the attack where she slams with her spider legs on the side. There's one for the front too. No one told me this. I've never seen these attacks before. Anyway, after dying to Quelaag one more time, I activated Ultra Instinct and managed to kill her, rung the bell, and made my way out of Blighttown, back through Firelink, and to Sens, where I did the usual things you do at Sens. You know, die to trap, die to Snake Man, die to fall damage, die to breathing too fast. Oh, and did I mention dying? I also grabbed the Black Sorcerer set and the Shottel. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. Then I headed back to Firelink and beat up Greg, which in hindsight was a terrible idea, but live and learn, am I right? Too bad I hadn't leveled intelligence at all, so I can't fucking learn. I headed to Undeadburg before slotting a spell. I know, very smart. Wait, considering my intelligence, that makes sense. I then promptly died because of this, and I slotted Soul Arrow so I can do what can generously be called damage, if by damage we mean barely tickling enemies. The reason I am heading to Undeadburg is because I need the small leather shield to complete my cosplay. Then I leveled Attunement to about 16, so I can have more than one spell slot. And in my very limited wisdom, I decided not to level intelligence, because who needs magic adjust when your main source of damage is magic? Anyway, shouldn't a title card be popping off? I headed back through Sens, freed enormous headwear Wolverine, and died in the most me way possible. I'm just gonna go now. I'll see you guys at the Golem, okay? Afterwards, I destroyed the giant's balls. Hold on. Wait, no, I mean his fireballs. Wait, no, that's even worse. I mean, so Golem fight. It is a boss fight, and we do damage, I guess. Yeah, this is gonna take a while. And no, I'm not going for his legs. I'm not pre-aiming spells. Not in DS1. After approximately 14 hours, I have killed the Golem, and I'm whisked away to Anor Londo, where I come to the realization that I'll have to go back through Sans to get a new identity. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Speaking of bridges, I lowered the bridge so I can progress and head through Anor Londo, ignoring all the enemies because I still only have like 12 intelligence. I head to the secret room housing Havel's gear. Yeah, you all know where this is going. Oh hey, another Gravel servant died. Neat. I got Havel's gear, headed back to his ends, through Darkwood Basin, and cheesed Havel at the door. I homeward boned back to Anne Orlando and leveled up my stats until I could fat roll in Havel's armor and could one-hand his weapon and shield. I headed through Anne Orlando where I got this very interesting path where I was shot in the back by the archer, but it didn't knock me forward. Instead, it pulled me backwards off the ledge. If anyone can explain this, please do, because I still don't understand it. And I've watched this footage like 10 times now. I don't know what happened. I managed to get through though after a few attempts and made it inside where I executed the stair skip fairly easily. Don't know how when I'm wearing like 100 kilograms of armor, but okay game. But this is where I had a brick wall. A soft one, definitely breakable, but a brick wall nonetheless. In the form of Oreo and s'mores. The problem wasn't me doing 4 damage this time. The problem was my attack windows. By the time my attack landed, they would have jumped away. At first I was trying to go for Smough, so I could steal Ornstein's identity. But that was way harder than doing it the other way around. So next attempt, I went for Ornstein first, and it was going better. Although by the time I got to Super Smough, I had no Estus left, but luckily some quick menuing on my part to pop some humanities saved me, and this brick wall was demolished. Not even gonna make a second title card for this boss. I went and killed the Gaping Dragon as Smough because I was sick of fat rolling and also needed that door into Blighttown open. I then went back to Anne Orlando to take care of Lothric. Needed to kill him by invading, otherwise you can't get his armor. I went and closed it up with Shiva and the Forest Hunters so I could buy a second shuttle. I also made an executive decision that the Forest Hunter NPCs, besides Shiva and his bodyguard, do not count for the challenge. Then I headed back to Blighttown to make use of Shiva's services, where I bought a second shuttle, and then I went to New Londo Ruins. Why, you may ask? Well, isn't it obvious, silly? Lothric uses a parrying dagger which can only be found in New Londo Ruins. It cannot be bought from anyone. Here, actually, look, he switched to it right there. See? So he uses it. Anyway, and now we had to kill the cutest puppy in Lordran. Check it out, since we are Lothric right now. The fight wasn't that bad, since technically Sif is an early game boss. I died once as I was not used to the shuttle moveset, but after that I got my bearings and became the most hated person in Lordran. Then I headed back to Firelink, murdered Laurentius. This is why I grabbed the Pyromancy set like 3 chapters back. Once I became Laurentius, I revived the Firekeeper as I didn't want to do it as Lothric since it would have been very out of character for him. Anyway, I headed down into the catacombs to waste my first chance at using Pyromancy and killed Pinwheel. Only died once on the way there as I slipped off the shortcut drop down while heading to Vamos, but got there second try and beat up Pinwheel. I bet you're wondering what mask he dropped. He dropped the... I then made my way through the Tomb of the Giants blind till the first bonfire, got kicked down a cliff by Patches, and due to poor memory on my part, I killed Nico and Vince as I thought Patches, who sells their armor and weapons, moves to Firelink after you kill them. But I was wrong, he moves to Firelink after you kill Nito, so we're just going to not count them as eligible NPCs, okay? Okay, glad we're on the same page. Once I realized my error, I went back to the Undead Asylum to trade the Skull Lantern for the Ring of Fog, then to Blighttown to kill Shiva's bodyguard, but not Shiva, saving him for later. I then make my way to the Duke's archives, dodge past the Crystal Knight, and die to thief, and wake up in jail. I open the door and trigger the alarm, but I do not want to deal with the Pisaka, so I use a Homeward Bone to reload the area, which disables the alarm. Don't ask why, it just works. I then run down the stairs, up the ladder, and trigger the alarm, cause I'm a dumbass. I grab the key and Homeward Bone back to the bonfire and climb up the ladder. I run through the archives, open the bookcase, rested the fire, and go back to plus them my Uchigatana at Andre, go up to Oswald so that the forest hunters don't hate me anymore. I go back to the archives and free Huge Cap Axeman, and proceed to buy all his spells. And now I was ready to take on Thief. The fight wasn't anything interesting, it had no real strategy besides run in, hit until he did the crystal attack near his body or his AoE explosion, run away, repeat until dead. I went back afterwards to kill Logan. I made sure he was gone and had gone to Thief's original room so I could get his full outfit and both of his catalysts. I again dodged the Crystal Knight and went to face Logan, who was a pretty easy fight all things considered. Now it's time to face the sometimes approximately maybe 4 kings. I just ran past everything in New Londa Ruins as I wasn't wasting my spells on ghosts. Despite that, I still had to Homeward Bone out during the fight as I ran out of usable spells during the fight. Note how I said usable. Turns out, White Dragon Breath doesn't work in the Abyss. Despite that, the kings themselves weren't much trouble, so I got them second try. And with that, only 2 Lord Souls remain, Nito and the Bed of Chaos. Next up, I thought I'd tackle Nito. I went and buddied up with the Forest Hunters again, so Shiva could reappear, got the Eastern set, and went down to Blighttown and proceeded to murder Shiva, ruining my rep with the Forest Hunters again. I upgraded my Murakumo, which is a weapon I've never used before, and headed to take on Nito. I'll spare you the footage of me making my way through the tomb as it's confusing and disorientating, as I did not allow myself to use a light source, which I didn't even have anymore, so that rule was useless. I managed to stumble my way to Nito with only a few deaths, and got to see the Murakumo's interesting moveset. It feels kind of like a normal small dex weapon minus the speed. So a dex weapon without the main draw of a dex weapon. Thank you, Dark Souls. Anyway, I managed to get Nito first try. I then went and killed Petrus and killed Ceaseless, as both of them were pushovers, so moving on. I also killed the Hydra and freed Dusk. I then headed back to the Duke's archives to kill the Crystal Knight and steal his identity. I told you there'd be one NPC you didn't expect, at least not at the start. Kinda ruined it by pointing it out earlier, but who cares. I made my way over to the DLC, where I got stuck for a good half hour on the easiest boss of the DLC, Sanctuary Guardian. My problem was that while my greatsword did good damage, it was just way too slow. Whether or not I was two-handing it or one-handing it, it was the return of the ONS problem. Of the Guardian dodging away at the last second right before my attack hit, so I got stuck for a good half hour. which may not seem like a lot, but I usually beat him first try, so it was kind of frustrating. But I managed to persevere through sheer will and the fact that I remembered I could use the crystal trace sword as well. It was pure will. So after that, I managed to defeat the Sanctuary Guardian and made my way towards Ulasil. I rested at the fire and went back to Blighttown to take on Kraylana's identity, who was more than willing to cooperate with me. I homeward went back to the Sanctuary and attuned some pyromancies that would prove somewhat useless against Artorias. Not that they didn't do good damage, I was just missing an important thing for casting, poise, which means any attack of Artorias would either flatten me or send me flying. There was one pyromancy that would save my sanity in the coming future, but I didn't realize that until 2 more attempts. That pyromancy was Iron Flesh. It doesn't actually boost poise or do anything like that. It just basically makes you unstaggerable, at least if I am understanding it correctly. With it slotted, I was able to get Artorias 1 hit away from death, but Greed got the better of me and I did not heal, so yeah. But a few more attempts would prove that I was on the right track, as I managed to dispatch Artorias while only having to use 5 Estus out of my supply of 20. And so the Abysswalker fell, and I took his place. I headed back to Ulasil to investigate the source of the scourge plaguing the residents there once more. I found what could only be described as a curse. A vile curse spawned from hatred. But I would not let this curse take me again. My first descent ended with the abyss taking hold of me. Now I have grown stronger. I granted the abominations here mercy by my abyss-touched sword. Then I remembered my loyal compatriot. I left my shield with her to protect her from the abyss. I must rescue her. And so, I descended further into the abyss and found her, my most loyal companion. Without her, the coming fight might have been impossible. I found my way to the deepest depths of the abyss, to face its father, Manus. But I was not alone, not anymore, for I had my most trusted ally with me.
For sunlight, hide away now from the dark. To me the anger deep is calling, tearing me apart. Somehow the whispers do command me when the abyss has taken hold. Now carry on in glory when I grow cold. I will shield you from the darkness when the walls around us quake. I will hold back all the monsters until my bones begin to break. And when I've lost, I'll have to leave you, and the tears will fall like rain. If I'm taken by the shadows, I will spare you from the pain. darkness creeping. In this restless room my soul is beating. I confess to you that dark has taken me prisoner. I am corrupt beyond any rescue. I've forsaken my vow to protect you. Oh, when these horrors face the father of the sinister. If the fight's over, I will sacrifice my mind, just to know you'll still be breathing when the years have been unkind. So continue on without me, guard my body and my fame. Keep a watch over the wasteland when the world forgets my name. I will shield you from the darkness when the walls around us gray. I will hold back all the monsters until my bones begin to break. When I've lost, I'll have to leave you, and the tears that fall like rain. If I'm taken by the shadows, I will spare you from the pain.
And together, attempt after attempt, the father of the abyss fell. And Sif had lived, but I knew I couldn't. Artorias couldn't. I left my sword with Sif and went back to finish all of this, once and for all. Back in present-day Lordran, I killed Domhnall and went to take on the copy-paste key, who was fairly easy. Then I decided to skip Centipede for now. At least that was the plan, but I'll explain later. So, onto the Bed of Chaos, who I decided to take on as Dust, which was fairly easy. I mean, it's the Bed of Chaos. Then I headed back to Firelink, where I'm just gonna show you who I chose for the final boss.
Hey, put an end to that. Stop that!
So, to fully become Patches, I had to go back down to Blighttown to get the Eagle Shield, which I did fairly easily, and now it was time to take on Gwyn, who gave me a lot of trouble, as I couldn't parry and didn't have that many attack opportunities because of this. But turns out I wasn't thinking like Patches. So once I changed my mindset, I remembered, why would I fight Gwyn when I can just easily trap him and pelt him with Chekhov's fire bombs and arrows? So began the tedious task of trapping Gwyn, which took a while, but once I did, it was over for him. And as I stood there, I wondered, would patches blink the fire? Nah, of course not. So I walked out, ending the game. So, to answer the question, yes, you can beat Dark Souls as an identity thief. Now, to address the elephant in the room, I had originally made a backup save before fighting Gwen, but I forgot to turn off PS Plus's save auto upload feature, so it overwrote the save in the cloud with the one where I had already beaten Gwen. So I couldn't go back and deal with the remaining bosses that I forgot. Those being Gwendolyn, Priscilla, Calamite, Stray Demon, and Centipede Demon. Besides my fuck up, this was honestly a very fun run and recommend you to try it yourselves. But that being said, thank you everyone so much for watching. And as always, we will see you all on the flip side. Goodbye.